You know what the worst part of the day is? When you wake up early in the morning and you go into the chat. You see Mike Lee's already in the chat. You see some other people are already in the chat, but you go into that chat. You go into that chat, and the first thing you see is the mug of the Dahmer. That's just not right. That's just not right. You know what? I'm going to take a picture of that, and I'm going to send this to the Dahmer right now. Watch. I'm going old school. I'm going to take a picture of this. I'm going to send this to the Dahmer. Tell him he's already got the CEO of the Poppycockers is already in his house. We have New York Giant stuff going on. Let me send this to the Dominic of the Palmer. Let me send this to him because he'll get a kick out of that early in the morning. What's going on, everyone? This is Tim. Rob is late, as always. But you know what? We're not going to say anything. Mike Lee's already jumping in the chat saying, smash that like. We have Tim equals the GOAT from Poppycocker CEO, the Dahmer. I love that picture of Dahmer wearing my old helmet. Actually, he's wearing the Giants. He's wearing an autographed Phil Simms helmet, but he's wearing a Giants. He's wearing my shoulder pads. Tim, the Giants missed multiple practices due to poor air quality. Many people believe it's not a big deal. What about the players who are actually competing for back-end roster spots? It's not a big deal. It's not a big deal. Do you have a lot of teams that actually do not have multiple days of voluntary OTAs? You have, I believe, the Eagles and the Bengals do not also have mandatory minicamp. So you are more going to have that issue if you hit the dog days of summer and you hit into training camp and you start having these poor air quality days. And also the Giants actually have the practice facility at Quest Diagnostics in the Dome. So I mean they could have practiced still, but they just decided it was just something they didn't want to do, which is fine. Because you have 3 days of mandatory OTAs coming up on Tuesday. So I mean, you're gonna be fine. If this happened during training camp, I'd be a little bit more worried. Let me see here. Let me clear my throat. Mike Lee says, Tim, don't think we are near the 95 claps. Just saw the headline, hoping online Big Blue family is safe. We're not too far. We're about I would say we're about 35 minutes away from the collapse. But we're not near it. We're not near it. But thank you, Mike Lee. Dom, the Poppycocker Dom, also comes back and says, do you think missing a couple practices will affect players? No. Like I said, Rob coming in late, that affects more things than the Giants having poor air quality and missing practices. So
sucks when you don't have internet.
Wah. That's
it's the best I got.
I was gonna say someone also tells someone back in the background they're doing some dishes. So it's all good. We're still running through some of these chats. We have the CEO of Poppycockers, of course, the Dom in the room. Tim, the Giant. We already got that one. Tim, do you think? No, we got that one. Let's see here. We got Tim Howitt on here saying, Tim, what's up? Smash that like button. We got Alex Sports dropping in saying, what's up, everyone? Everyone's good. Zach Attack says the air quality was terrible Wednesday and Thursday. Jeff Newman rocks it all in. Come on, Timmy. And then we also have Dominic Palmer, the real Poppycocker CEO, has quickly popped in. So we're all good. So we had poor air quality here because of the fires in Canada, Rob. So what happened was the Giants didn't practice for those 2 days. So the question was, do you think that it will be any hindrance to back end roster players that are trying to make this team? And I'm saying no, because of the fact that it's not really going to be much of an issue until you get into training camp. I mean, it's mandatory. It's voluntary workouts. And I was mentioning that some teams don't even have extended voluntary workouts, and teams like the Eagles and the Bengals don't even have mandatory minicamps. So I personally don't think it's going to be an issue.
Man, I think this is going to be a reason why our season derails. I mean, I don't know what we're going to do. You know, the smoke.
Jones excuse.
I mean, tell you what, you know what? These couple of days of OTAs is the reason why Daniel Jones does not have success this season. And I think he deserves another year to really prove himself, to figure out exactly who he is as a player. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it, Tim.
I like that story. It's a good story. Someone asked me a brief question the other day, and I meant to ask this. They wanted to know what was the difference between OTAs and mandatory minicamps. And I thought it was an interesting question because of the fact that honestly, there is not a huge difference between the fact that one is mandatory and one is not mandatory. You can be fined for missing OTAs. Excuse me, for missing mandatory minicamp. And the question is, will Saquon Barkley be fined? No, because he's not under contract. And the only other huge difference is the amount of hours that you are allowed, to use. For mini camps, you can have days as long as 10 hours. In OTAs, your days can only be 6 hours. So, I mean, there is a difference in reference to that, but you can only hold a maximum, I think, of 20. You can hold a maximum of, I believe it's 24 hours in 3 days for mandatory mini camps. Those are the biggest difference. Of course, there's no hitting, there's no contact, but it's just anyone under contract is required to be here. So, I mean, I think, that's
in the words, I don't know if you were there at the time, but in the words of somebody that you probably saw when you were with Tampa, of Keyshawn Johnson, let me worry about the voluntary mandatory stuff.
The voluntary mandatory. Well, it is contractual though. If you are under contract, you are required to be at the mandatory minicamp on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. So, I mean, but is there going to be a multitude of difference? No. Like I said, your days will be 4 hours longer, and that's it. There's still no pads. There's still no contact. It's when we get into training camp, Rob. It's when we get into camp. That's when we're going to get to see a little bit of this. We also prepare. Let's go Giants. Giants, the number 1 seed in 2023. I don't know where that's coming from. Number 1 seed of what?
Listen, Eamon, from your lips to God's ears, but when reality hits, Puff would be the greatest tissues that you could possibly use. They don't make your nose dry.
They don't dry you out.
They have lotion built into it.
Dominic says Mrs. P is back, so back to the family activities. Hope everyone has a safe with the fires and air quality. We have the Admiral Mutombo coming in saying, "Morning, Tim. It's very impressive of you standing your ground while getting booed in the background. When asked the DJ question, being a former athlete, guess that helps." I'm not afraid of anybody. Honest. I think there's a it's funny though. I don't know if you saw the picture with me and John Jacob Jingleheimer Schmidt.
His name is my name too.
His name is my name too. I don't know if you saw that picture I posted.
I did.
I'm a big guy.
You almost look like height wise. You guys were about the same height wise.
Yeah, he's only I think 2 or 3 inches taller than I am, but he's got 70 pounds, 80 pounds on me. So
his shoulders are pretty wide.
He's a big man. He's Big John. He's got and I know I laugh because people are like, because they were like, well, you hate him and now you like him. I never said I hated him. I just pointed some things out that were some concernings.
Yeah, like I don't get that notion. So for me, and I said this in a space the other day, for me, I always used to judge players off of going to NFL.com and like looking up their stats. Oh, look, they had a good year, so they must be a decent player, this, that, and the third. It wasn't until like I started hanging out with a lot of the people like in the Giants community and learning a different way of like viewing players and like watching film, mechanics, all 22 films, so on and so forth, that I developed I guess you could say like a stronger aptitude for how I judge players. And all of a sudden, when you're trying to be more, what's the word I'm looking for? Objective. Oh my God, you're a hater. Why are you talking about him like that? You know what? You're not a real fan. Why don't you go be an Eagles fan?
That's what I always get all the time. You're not a real fan. You're a hater. Why did the Giants let the enemy into the building? That's the one I always get. And I'm sorry, guys. I was in Quest Diagnostic. I was in the Giant facility on Tuesday. I was in the offices. Ooh. So the enemy was in the offices.
I saw you met Tay. How was that?
It was, everyone was great. I mean, awesome. Like I said, I came away impressed with pretty much everyone that was there. I mean,
Jalen too.
No, Jalen did not. This is my only concern about Jalen. This is the second thing that Jalen has missed. And I'm not saying anything about it, but he was supposed to be at the town hall. He wasn't there. He was supposed to be at this event. He was not there. I'm not saying that means anything because I'm still a huge Jalen fan. But like I said, it's just interesting. That was the second event.
Did you see your favorite Giant there? Did you see him?
No, it's funny. It was only rookies. So it was just the rookies. And there's a picture of me and the Jingleheimer Schmidt. I love it how people say that we were related.
You should have told John. You should have asked John, but like, John,
can I get a DNA here?
Is it cold in here?
It was actually cold in there. It was actually a little chilly in there because
I'll be honest, bro. You look like you could be his uncle or something. I ain't gonna lie.
That's what people are like. People are like, look at the jaw, look at the nose, look at the smile. I'm like,
it's the same smile.
I didn't even know it until I got home, and I had all these people when I posted on Twitter. All these people DMing me, and I'm like, oh, you're all full of shit. I'm like, what the hell are you talking about? And my wife looks at it and goes,
"There's something you want to tell me."
You want to tell me? I was like, no, and I threw it back on her. I said, "There's something you want to tell me?" Luckily, my wife has a degree in biology because evidently I don't know how biology works. Let's see.
Have you seen the new thing going on Twitter?
Oh God,
the last couple of days.
No. What?
So Texas released a little montage similar to something that the Giants released, a little montage of our boy throwing the football. And there's a little guy by the name of Arch Manning throwing some passes. And I'm seeing quotes saying, I love DJ. I hope he wins us a Super Bowl. But Arch Manning is my future quarterback. And I want to give a shout out to Mike C., who was like half joking about this in a space like earlier in the year and said they don't want any of these quarterbacks. The next quarterback that they'll drool over, that they'll be okay with moving on from DJ with, is Arch Manning. And it's happening. It's happening right now.
It's happening. Here's my. I did not see that. And here's the crazy thing. They had early summer practices. Texas did not too long ago, and Archie Manning got outplayed by gentlemen on the roster and another person that they brought in on scholarship. So does that mean he's a failure?
Man.
Just another.
He can't cut it.
He can't cut it because he
can't make the cut.
He didn't look good. Mike Lee says sarcasm alert.
Warning, sarcasm. Warning, sarcasm.
I don't know. I'm giving sarcasm alert before, but I always do give out the sarcasm alert. We had Logic's finest all the way from Germany. The players union said to protect players, shorten practices, less practice in pads. So 2-a-days, no more 2-a-days practice. Injuries have skyrocketed. They are soft. They look at the field and now they get hurt. I come from the day where we had 3-a-days.
I think there were less injuries when there were 3-a-days and 2-a-days than there is now.
I actually agree with Logic's finest. You cannot put on the pads and hit anyone until day 4 of training camp. Bill Parcells, and I've been to Bill Parcells practices in the old Meadowlands in '86 when they practiced on that concrete field, and they had full contact, during the season in late December. And there are less injuries back then than there are now. And I think we did a video a long time ago about it, which we actually statistically proved that there were less injuries between, I think it was 87 and 2000, whatever it was, when they changed the CBA and to now. But it is what it is. Like I said, mandatory minicamp just means you have to be there if you're under contract. You can practice 4 more hours a day, but you have to wait 3 hours. Like I said, you can only practice 24 hours within a 3-day period. That's the only differences. That's really it. And but the key phrase is, and everyone freaking out about Saquon Barkley, you have to be under
contract.
There we go.
Do I win something?
You win a prize.
Ding, ding, ding. What do we have for him, Johnny? Do the monkey with me.
No, I don't have that. I don't have that queued up. I was late. I was late.
What's your excuse?
That's always my excuse. We got Chris dropping in the big stuff for the kids. Chris says, "Good morning, gents. It's a good day, Chris. It's a sunny day. It's a warm day. It's one of those days. It's a giant day. That's the way we got to look at this. It's a giant thing. Zach says MIniCamp is mostly walkthroughs. We got a lot of trying. Big Tim, good afternoon to my best to you and your family. Big Dom to the best of yours. Mike Lee also says it's today's fandom having concerns or pointing out inconvenient facts as being a hater. Tim was the spy for the opposition. I was the spy for the opposition. You should have seen me, Rob. I had a trench coat on when I was in the building. I wore an Eagle shirt underneath.
Man, you're a rebel, dude.
I was rebelling it. I really was.
I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you.
Shit,
Look at you go, man. Look at you go.
Zagatek says, how do you feel about the dead snap for JMS? How do you feel about the dead snap for JMS?
I mean, snap's a snap. I mean, as long as the quarterback can handle it, I mean, I don't necessarily really worry about it. I'm sure we'll hear, man,
issues with it.
JMS's dead snap. That's the reason why Daniel Jones is superior in this NFL. That's why he's top 5. That's why he, or it could be like, man, Bobby Johnson needs to talk to JMS. Daniel's throwing these interceptions because when he gets the ball, the laces aren't there. He's got to spin it, twirl it, bounce on it, test it. Then he's got to throw it. It's too much time. Daniel Jones is not producing because of JMS's dead ball snap. And that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. It's going to be one of the two.
You know what's funny though, and most people don't even know this: the dead ball snap. I don't want to.
He's just grabbing it from the top of the ball.
From the top. That's all it is. But this, if you go back to 2017, this is how far. No, that's not that far back. But there was articles about how the dead ball snap. I know it really doesn't feel like that. How the dead ball snap though is going to revolutionize the sport of football. I swear to God. There is an ESPN article, and I'll see if I can't find it. That was I took a screenshot that says the dead snap is revolutionizing the quarterback center exchange. So this crap has been going on since 17. So I mean it is what it is. If there is an issue with the snap, if Daniel Jones has a problem gripping the ball for whatever reason because of the snap, you don't think
it's all JMS's fault.
But you don't think the Giants are going to go to JMS and say, okay, we're going to teach you the traditional snap?
No, it's all JMS's fault.
I knew it. Well, hey man, don't F with JMS, man. That's my dude now. That's my man now.
It's your son.
I'm at least his uncle. Tim, how you doing? Tim, are you doing a fan tailgate before any home games? No.
Hey Donnie, I'm doing great. Thanks for asking.
I am not doing. The problem with doing a fan tailgate is I do a lot of on-field stuff, either during the for the flag ceremonies and stuff. So I get there at 8:00 in the morning, and then we practice, and then I have to be back in the designated area by like 11:45. So a lot of times when I'm doing that, I don't really get a chance to tailgate because I'm doing. And I do a lot of halftime ceremony stuff too on the field. So I mean, it's one day we will. Who knows? I'm lying. I don't know. Maybe one day we will. The Admiral says, everyone has Waller as the N1 based on injury history. That must be noted that but the new play we can expect from the coach at Dales, now the field will be more spread out. I don't know, Rob, do you have any? I mean, we've talked about this briefly with Waller. Do we have any issues? I mean, I know I have some concerns, but do we have any issues at 31 years old, coming off 2 seasons where he hasn't? And he is going to be counted on as a focal point of the offense since D-Hop is not coming here.
I mean, look, when it comes down to first,
I'm sorry. Did I offend you? Oh, let me sit up a second.
Fuck your sensitivity.
It takes a man.
Whatever.
To wear this outside all day long.
I said I wanted him. I never said he was coming here. Anyway, but at 31, I'll say this: not everybody's been through like what that's in the National Football League early in their career, like Darren was. He was out of the league for a couple of years, getting his body right, getting his mentals right, getting sober and everything like that. That's what he was doing. And so I look at it right now. I think he's like 30 or he's about to be 31.
I think he's already 31. I think he is.
I think he just celebrated his birthday not that long ago.
I thought
so. Yeah. So I think as of right now, if he can stay healthy, his body may be like around like the 28, maybe 29-year-old range, because he doesn't have the miles on him. The other part of this, Captain, is I agree. Like everybody is automatically putting Waller like in this category where he's just going to be this X factor type of player. And I understand why they're doing that, right? Like he's a good football player when healthy. He's definitely a top 3, top 4 tight end in the league. But he's been injured. And what just gripes me is like when this whole DeAndre Hopkins thing was going, everybody's biggest thing was, well, Diop's 31. I don't want somebody on my team that's that old. But his PEDs, that's a concern, and everything like that. But yet, everybody, those same people are hyping up Darren Waller coming off of 2 seasons where he was injured and didn't play a full season. So right now, to me, unless they're adding a wide receiver, which it doesn't look like they are doing that, Waller is going to be the number 1 passing option in this offense, which means he is going to get double teamed quite a bit.
So they're not getting D-Hop.
No, I mean, obviously I don't know. He hasn't signed anywhere or anything like that. And I haven't seen any indication that he's coming in for a visit. I'm not saying the door's closed, but I don't know. I'm not in the building.
There's not even the door.
But if the door is closed there, now it goes back to, okay, who is going to be the man to step up? Is it Isaiah Hodgins? I like Isaiah Hodgins. I think he's got great hands. I think he runs great routes. But is he going to be this world beater type of wide receiver? We don't know, right? Is it Jalen Hyatt? I think putting that much pressure on a rookie coming in, that's wrong to do, right? You got Wan'Dale Robinson coming off of an injury. You don't know where his head is going to be at, right? So
you don't even know when Wan'Dale Robinson's coming back.
Exactly. Like I think Wan'Dale will probably be back like week 5 or 6, could be sooner, could be later. Now you've got guys like Paris Campbell. People are hyping him up. Again, injured. Number 0. Injured and injury.
Agent 0.
Huh?
He's going to be called Agent 0.
Agent 0.
Agent 0. Because you know
Agent 0.
But I mean, he looks like that guy.
Yeah, I mean, it's to shorten up the answer, Cap. I think there's a lot of pressure that most Giants fans are putting on, I will say, a proven commodity in Waller, but has not proven it lately due to injury, and an unproven commodity in Paris Campbell, who did it once and has been injured for the majority of his career, and a rookie that hasn't even stepped foot onto the field yet. And I don't feel that that's the right way to go.
And I have to say, Rob, congratulations on the 2 newest family members. We forgot to congratulate Rob. So Zach Attack says, make sure all your kids are Giant fans, Rob. And he's bringing in breakfast and some coffee and some juice. So sweet. We're all just going to sit here and wait till Rob gets his breakfast. So until then, we're gonna have a musical interlude.
I can't hear anything.
You can't hear anything.
No, I can't.
Rob's having a problem with his audio, but that's okay. So congratulate. Can you hear us now?
Yes. Well, yeah, I couldn't hear the music that you were playing.
Okay. Congratulations on the newest additions.
Thank you, sir.
To the Argentina family. So that comes from Zach Attack, not from me. I'm not that nice of a guy.
Thank you, Zach.
Barkley, actually, Inspector Gadget thing was playing while time was sneaking around the office. Chris Sims, Admiral Matumbo says, Chris Sims, something having a rod at number 8 and Trevor Lawrence being 4 spots above. I mean, Chris Sims came out, Rob, with a, I guess with his,
don't even get me started.
His top 30 quarterbacks. Chris Sims, Chris Sims, son of Giant legend, Phil Sims. Chris Sims was actually there the first year.
Oh man, I didn't do this on purpose. I put Daniel Jones at 11. Oh, my dad wore 11. Oh,
we're not going to get into that, but I make sure you hit the like button, guys. But it's his list. It's subjective. It is what it is. I mean, like you said, everyone has their opinions. I've said it a million times. Opinions are like assholes. Everyone has one.
Everybody's got it.
That's why I'm on YouTube. Giants 34 said, "What's up, bros? How do you two feel about Bad Dog saying DJ is the second quarterback in the NFC? Sounds like the Bad Dog is sniffing his protein powder instead of drinking it." I don't know. I love Bad Dog, but I did not watch any of his videos probably in the last 6 months, so I'm not sure what he said. So I can't really comment on it. Rob, can you comment on that, or what was actually said? Because I don't even know what was actually said.
I don't even know what was actually said, but I'm not surprised.
Okay, I'm not surprised either. Bad Dog has transitioned over to the dark side. Not to the dark side. He's just giving into his fandom, which is everyone's right. So Chris says, "Don't forget the like button." Zach says, "Rob, would you take Hyatt over as a Deshaun Jackson type player with a big play guy?"
I don't think there was anything wrong with Deshaun Jackson's big play ability, but what made Deshaun Jackson good was he was with Michael Vick. He was with Michael Vick, right? Who had a strong arm. He played with McNabb, who had a strong arm. He played with quarterbacks that threw the ball down the field. If we're doing that and Hyatt can produce at that level, sure. But I mean, Deshaun Jackson really wasn't. He was just fast. I mean, that's really what Deshaun Jackson was. He was fast. Now, maybe Hyatt's got better hands, but like, I want a dominant wide receiver. Like, I want a dominant number one. I want to have an A.J. Brown on my team. I want to have a Justin Jefferson on my team. I want to have a guy on my roster that doesn't matter how many people you line up on him, he's going to win 98% of the time or 99% of the time. I don't know if we have that on this roster yet. That remains to be seen. But, I mean, I wouldn't mind it as long as we're, as long as we're taking the deep shots and utilizing his skill set to the best of his ability, Zach. That would be my only thing.
Somebody actually brought this up, and I thought this was kind of interesting. And it was an interesting player that they were comparing Hyatt to. And that's James Jett, the former wide receiver with the Raiders. He was also a former Olympic sprinter. And while he did not have he still had a career where he had 256 receptions, over 4,000 yards, 30 touchdowns. He had one season where he had, I believe, 12 touchdowns in one season. He was a big play guy. He was a speed guy. And I've said this a million times before.
This is an old school guy? This is old school from back in the day?
James Jett. When did he play? James Jett actually played in, let's see, he was last season was 2002 with the Raiders. But he was a speed guy. He was a big play guy. He's kind of similar to Hyatt, except for the fact that he was an Olympic sprinter. But I could see the similarities. And I've said it before, if Hyatt has only 30 receptions, but he averages 17 yards a reception and maybe scores 5 touchdowns, I think that's a successful season for him. Because of the fact that
I would agree.
I don't think he needs to be the focal point, because that still gives him almost 600 yards passing. And I would literally be fine with that if that's what he happened. Now, talking about, we didn't get to talk about this, Rob, but Daniel Jones was ranked 7th overall by the Venable Pro Football Focus in reference to deep ball passing. He had the 7th best deep ball passing ratio in the league last year. Now, we've talked about this, and I'm going to just cue this up.
He should have gotten $50 million a year.
I'm just going to cue this up real quick because I don't have the numbers in front of me, but he had a total of 27 pass attempts and only 2 touchdowns in his deep ball passing. And the people ahead of him had 77, 78, 69 passes. So he had almost a third or less, he actually almost had 2/3 less passing attempts than the players ahead of him. And 2 of the touchdowns were not deep ball throws. They were, the one was with Slayton in the Texans game where Daniel Jones threw the ball falling down and the defender missed the ball and missed Slayton, and Slayton took it for a touchdown. So that wasn't really a deep ball pass. You can subjectively talk about anything you want, but when you break down something with the eye test, with the litmus test, it's I don't know. It's not. I'm going to give you a moment to talk about that because it's just not there. I mean,
I don't like that shit. I don't like it because here's the thing. I could give you a test that has 50 questions on it, and you could get an 80% on it. And then you can give me a test with 5 questions on it, and I could get 3 of them right and still get an 80%.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I don't, people are hyping up these numbers and making it sound like an overhyping this guy. He had less attempts.
He almost had third less the attempts.
Like way less attempts. So of course, when you have less attempts and your percentage, your rank is going to be higher than the people that are throwing it 3 times more than where you are. You know, so I don't understand that. Like, I don't. We are just in a weird time right now to be a Giants fan, to be honest, where for some reason it seems that the media, the beat reporters, for the exception maybe Pat Leonard and maybe Dan Duggan, but the beat reporters, all of these guys, it's like I think it's like all mafia. I think they're all getting paid. I think they're all getting paid under the table to somehow say, man, this guy's the answer. Look at what his ranks are. My God, we got to steal. My God.
I think it's funny that because Justin Herbert had almost the same amount of deep ball passing attempts and had like 10 touchdowns. Daniel Jones had 2 touchdowns, which ranked 31st. And I think he was yardage ranked like 29th. In reference to that. So, I mean, I thought that was kind of, I'm just, like I said, I just find it interesting. We got another one going, how's it going, Tim? I hope Waller and a wide receiver core can make it through the season healthy. I think that's going to be the key, is going to be health. And but you know, and I laugh, Rob, because it's kind of a dumb thing to say. You know, we'll be good if we're healthy. I think that's every team in the league.
Yeah, of course.
And I'm just saying that to make fun of myself. Logic's fun. It says, Tim, be safe, gotta run. Chris said, I have $1.37 that says Wandale will be back after the bye week. When did Wandale go down? Did he go down in November?
It was week 11, I believe, when he suffered his injury. It was against the Lions. I think that was week 11, if I'm not mistaken.
Because that would give you a better idea when he's going to come back.
He didn't have his surgery until it's like December 13th is when he had his surgery.
And that's the other thing that people don't understand. We talked about that with Saquon Barkley. People are like, well, Saquon came back.
Yeah, it's not about when they had the injury. It's about after they had the surgery.
And because you need to wait till the swelling goes down before you can have.
Yeah. I think it's like 6 months now recovery for ACLs. I mean, they've gotten a lot better. They
still say 8 to 12 months, and they're still saying that you are not fully recovered until year 2 of the ACL. Yeah. And I laugh because I'm always. I have the one day I'm going to do it again. I have the MRIs, the online Big Blue Tim MRIs from college. When the second time I tore my ACL. We're gonna put those up. If I can figure out a way to put those up on the screen, I'm gonna do that one day because it's actually pretty interesting when you look at the knee. Because the second time
you could probably scan those. Like take a picture of them, scan them in.
I was trying. The problem is it's an X. It's not an X-ray. It's an MRI. So it kind of looks like an X. It kind of looks like an X-ray. So I didn't know. Can you scan an X-ray or something that looks like that?
Well, if you have the light, and then you could just take a picture of it.
Yeah, because you could, because it's like this. So I don't know if you can.
Yeah, if you get a light, put a light behind it,
right,
and then you could take a picture of it, and then you could like scan it in. Like there's an app on your phone. It's something CS scanner or something like that, and then you can download it and just email it to yourself and then pull it up as an image on your phone.
Because it's actually fair. I was looking at them because I found the old ones, and it's actually interesting because if you take a look at the MRI. They took one of my one knee and the healthy knee, and they took one of the other knee, and you could literally see the tendon
difference.
You could see when also you can also see these huge clear puffs, which is
what do you have there?
What do I have where?
In your hand. You didn't think I'd notice the other hand.
I've been waiting. I'm waiting.
I'm ready when you are, pal. I'm ready when you are, baby.
I'm waiting, but we got work to. We're like the Giants with mandatory minicamp. We got to do.
Well, let me ask you this. This is probably maybe going off topic a little bit of maybe I don't know if you were planning on talking about this or not. So 2 things. One, the Dalvin Cook situation. I was talking with some people. No. But the Dalvin Cook situation, I was talking with some people, yesterday. And my feeling, with this situation, I think this may either hurt or aid the Giants in a way, because we put positions in like groups. We do it with quarterbacks, wide receivers, everything like that. I think Dalvin is in that group with Saquon Barkley as far as the caliber of player that he is. And if he gets released and gets a contract, because we haven't had a big-time guy, get a contract yet.
Right.
If he gets a contract where he's getting $12, $13 million, let's just say, if I'm Saquon Barkley, that's where I'm starting at. Like, I'm going to go off of this Dalvin Cook contract if he gets one. If he doesn't, and let's just say he gets one that's like 11, 10, or between $8 and $11 million, then at that point that works in the favor of the Giants, I think, because it's like, okay, that may push him to just sign the tag even quicker and just get back in and move forward. Do you think that the Dalvin situation could sway this Barkley situation in any way?
No, not in the least bit. Here's the difference between Dalvin Cook and Saquon Barkley. Saquon Barkley is under the tag right now. So the Giants have a necessity or need for him.
I'm okay.
I'd like some coffee.
She was asking me if I want another pancake.
Hopefully it's a protein pancake. Saquon Barkley's, you have to go. First of all, I don't think one situation has to do with the other, because Dalvin Cook doesn't have a team. So he's looking for work. Saquon Barkley has a job. Saquon Barkley has a contract in front of him. Saquon Barkley's importance to the Giants is different than what another running
back
Dalvin's been. What any running back is important. The way the Giants are constructed, unless they plan on going an entirely different direction and becoming a high-profile passing offense, Saquon Barkley's still about 50% of the offense. So his importance to the Giants may not be what the league dictates, but it's his importance to the team. If we do not have Saquon Barkley week 1 on this team, on this field, we are screwed. I'm sorry. 7-8 in the box. I dare the Giants to throw. And we understand the fact that Daniel Jones sometimes has an issue processing the play.
Yeah.
While he may look great in shorts and against the all-cone team, it's when you watch the Eagle game.
Yeah, no, for sure.
He reverted back.
It was way too, the game, that Eagles game in the playoffs looked like it was way too quick for him. Way too fast. Couldn't process. And I agree with you. And I think if you're going to go out there with Breida or Gray and think you're going to get, it's going to hold you over, I don't think so. And I guess the reason why I think that it could affect the situation is because if Dalvin were to get a $12 to $13 million deal and he's got the tag in front of him, at that point, I think he would use that and approach the Giants and say, hey, this guy's getting paid this. I'm just as good of, or if not more valuable player. I deserve more. Like you just said, Barkley's worth to the Giants is probably worth more than what Dalvin's would be.
His worth to the Giants is worth more what the league values a running back is.
Correct.
It's like if you go back to the old school Redskins, you go back to, I think it was 81 when they had John Riggins. John Riggins was, they did have the small receivers, they did have the Smurfs, but John Riggins was the running back. He was the man. He was the diesel. They ran him sometimes 497 times a game. You subtracted him away from that team. Now the running back importance to the rest of the league may not have been the same, but to that team, to that moment, John Riggins was the guy, was the team, was the franchise. It wouldn't matter. It doesn't matter what the rest of the league is doing. It's what the team individually is doing. And that's what the player's value or worth is. But
you don't think that could implement him whether he signs the tag or not?
No, I think Shane is dug in. I think Shane is dug in with a number. I think he wants to get away from I'm not saying he wants to get away from Saquon, but I understand it. He doesn't want to give a 26-year-old, soon to be 27-year-old running back what he would perceive to be a long-term deal at 3 or 4 years. That's why if you look at the contract he got during the bye week, only the first year was guaranteed, and the second year was only guaranteed for half. And then year 3, there was no guaranteed money. So you could.
I think that's so disrespectful.
And like I said, I laugh because everyone's like, well, his agent screwed him. No, we don't know all the facts. And it wasn't until the facts came out did we see that he wasn't getting any guarantee. He's better off playing on the tag, getting that guaranteed money, Saquon is, and then forcing the Giants either get rid of him next year or tag him again, which then his salary jumps up again exponentially. So he's now better off.
Now, Dalvin hasn't been cut officially yet, right?
No, not yet. Okay. I don't think so. No,
I don't. That's what I'm saying. I don't believe he has.
Okay. Releasing him on Friday if they could.
Okay. All right. Because I was hoping, like, if it was done already and he signed somewhere, I think that may have pushed where we would have gotten Barkley in during like MIniCamp, mandatory MIniCamp. Anyway.
Oh, they did. He has been released.
He has been released.
He was officially released on Saturday.
So he probably hasn't cleared waivers yet. It hasn't been cleared by the league yet.
Yeah, I don't think. No, he hasn't cleared waiver. No, he has not cleared. He'll probably clear waivers on Monday.
Monday. Okay. So I'll say this: if he clears waivers Monday and he signs Monday, there may be a possibility, and it's a cheap deal somewhere. It's like $8 million. I think he's going to go to Buffalo to go play with his brother. Personally, that's where I think he's going to go. If he gets it a low deal, I think Barkley comes in, he signs a tag, and he's there for rookie minicamp at some point. Maybe not the first day, but I think he comes in and he shows up the second day. Here's the other piece that I wanted to bring up, and I'm sure you probably saw it. Vikings are potentially looking to trade and taking talks about Danielle Hunter. It's been a topic of conversation. I saw the Patterson interview. I've never heard a coach talk about a player like that. And when you say something like, hey, if my daughter was going to marry somebody, I want him to be just like this guy right here. Like that's saying something. As a person who has a daughter, 2 daughters now, I know the like how intense that is. Is this something that you can see potentially the Giants with Patterson being on our coaching staff maybe looking into? I don't know. I really don't know, because I think his value, I was talking in space. I think I kind of agree with Sal. What Sal said, it may be like a 2nd round pick potentially for him. His cap hit is low this year at $5 million. You could give him like a 4-year deal. He's only like 28 years old. So I think they start to drop off at like 32, 33 years old, maybe when they start to decline. Is this something that you would entertain? No. Like, is this something that you think the Giants would entertain?
My question right off the bat to you is, okay, you are going to go out and get this guy. What do you feel the immediate impact in 2023 would be?
Like getting Danielle Hunter?
Mm-hmm.
I definitely think it's going to help out the defense tremendously. Now you have a good revolving door with pass rush. Danielle Hunter, Leo, Kayvon, Aziz, and then you got some young guys. You know, you got Hattie there, obviously come back. Despite Hattie's not like a big time player, but I love his attitude. I love what he brings to the locker room. But you got young guys like Baldonado, you know, that is an undrafted free agent. Don't know what he's capable of. Timon Fox, right? Like, I think it definitely helps out. But then they brought in Ashawn, they brought in Nacho. You've got Dexter there.
So you're kind of already answering where I'm going with that.
I think it's a great revolving door. I think would help out tremendously.
You brought in a bunch of guys right now that you want to see play. You drafted a guy just last year that you think is going to be a cornerstone to your franchise in Kayvon Thibodeau. You gave Dexter Lawrence a large amount of money. You were still on the hook for Leonard Williams for a large amount of money. You have hope in the notion that Azeez Ojulari is going to turn into something, and you're going to bring in a guy that you are probably going to have to give up a 2nd round pick and probably another pick on top of that yes is on a low end contract, but I believe his contract expires this year. Correct.
So you are going to have to pay him
if
So you give him a 4-year deal.
you're gonna
so
have,
he technically you'd have him for 5 this year and then 4 years after.
you're going to have to give a guy more money that after this season. And you're right, he's probably going to start becoming on the downslope of his career. When because he'll be, I believe he's either going to next year. He's either going to be, he's 28 now. I don't know when his birthday is, but
I'll look it up right now.
He'll probably be in the mid 30s or the early 30s, during the still guaranteed portion of the contract. And I think Shane is trying to build from within. And I think Shane is doing it smart. He's trying to build the draft. He's trying to conserve his cap space. He's trying to keep everything. Now, while he would be an asset, the question is also, he's not going to be, you're not going to trade for this guy and make him a rotational piece.
He turned 29 during the season. He was born October 29th.
So he'll be,
I guess,
30 something.
But if Leo's gone though after this year, I think they're not extending Leo. I think they would have done that already.
No,
if Leo is going to be gone, Hunter may be better than anybody as far as like if they were going to go edge rusher, he's probably better than maybe somebody that they would get in the second round anyway next year. And they would be at that point, if they get rid of Leo next year, Daniil could just take his spot on the roster. As far as like you're not losing anything there. You're probably gaining. I understand what you're saying from the cap perspective. Like 30, I think Leo's $35 million on the cap this year. You brought in Ashawn, you brought in Nacho, you drafted Kayvon, and then you have Aziz. But I think this, like if they do this and they give him like a 4-year deal, I don't know what his market is. I don't know what his market would be. I can check, but I don't. If the plan is to move on from Leo next year, I don't see why they wouldn't make the move and give up a second round pick and like maybe a fifth.
You're gonna have to give up those assets, and there's been plenty of guys in the second round and later that have blossom into wonderful pass rushers. You got the likes of like if you're going back old school, you got like Jason Taylor and Jared Allen and Robert Mathis and Elvis Dumerville and Kalis Campbell was a second rounder, and you got Trent Cole, the old Philadelphia Eagle was a 5th rounder. You got guys like what's the guy for the Pittsburgh, Aaron Smith, going back back in the day. There, you can't find someone better in the second round. I'm not saying it's my thing is this. You are trying to build something. You have to. My concern is the fact that you have a guy you went out and got. You went out and took that 5th round pick, the 5th pick overall, and said, "Kayvon Thibodeau is my guy." And then you're going to bring in someone that's probably going to take snaps away from him at points in time in the season when you need him to mature and to maturate into the guy, or you could potentially have wasted a 5th round pick. I'm assuming 5th overall pick. I mean, it's a weird slope because if he was 24 years old, we would
maybe be a brainer.
It would be a no-brainer. But he's going to want a big contract. He has no ties. I mean, he has no ties statistically to the Giants over the last 7 years. It's all been with
Patterson.
No, I'm talking statistically, play wise, not.
Well, you mean like his numbers? You mean like what?
Yeah.
Well, his rookie year he had 10.5 sacks. Well, no, last year he had 10.5 sacks,
and he had 6 year prior.
6 year prior, then he had 14.5 in 2018 and in 2019. But he got injured in 2021 because he missed some time. And then
7 and 6 and 12. And I'm not saying like my thing is if you're the Giants, Shane is trying to build within, and I don't see Shane dropping, because if you watch what Shane is doing now, he has taken the nucleus of this team and paid them.
Yeah,
he's done that. And these are all young guys outside of Saquon Barkley.
Agreed.
All young guys.
Agreed.
He traded for Waller, and he gave up that 3rd round pick. And
I'm just wondering why they did that though. But like, why do you think that they did that?
What you want, the trade for Waller?
Would it have made more sense, or would you have felt better about giving up a 2 for like a Jerry Jeudy versus giving up a 3rd for Darren Waller?
I think no, I would not want Jerry Jeudy. Jerry Jeudy, from everything that I've heard, and I've talked to someone that's in Denver, he's a knucklehead. I don't need enough.
I'm just talking about like thinking about it from like what you're saying, right?
No,
like
here's
from
I'm
24, right? Like I'm
gonna
trying to understand that thought
I'm gonna
process.
say the logic right now of going for Waller. I'm going to say, and I have no problem with them giving a third rounder for Waller. Waller came in some regards cheap. It's
Very cheap.
11 years, 11 million guaranteed that first year, and that's it. He is 31 years old, but he is, to your point, he has had a stellar career before the last 2 seasons. If the Giants get lightning in a bottle with Waller
and strike it,
it's going to be devastating.
But you're going to have to give him a new deal next year, though, if he balls out.
But here's the thing: there's also the flip side to this. If he flames out,
you just get rid of him.
You just get rid of him. It's done. You don't need to worry about it. So to Shane's point, Shane understands, and Dable understands, and Kafka understands how this offense is going to be built. Yes, they've improved the speed on the outside, but I still think this is going to be a running team, a short passing game that has, and you have players that even if you do quick outs, if you do some quick slants, that have the ability to take it to the house and give you those extra yardage, but they are going to do ball control, play defense, kind of like they did last year, and just sit there. And now you have a tight, not that Daniel Bellinger was not, proficient for what they asked him to do, but you're going to add a component in the middle of the field like Waller, who can turn the game around if he's right. And then that also opens up the middle for not only Saquon Barkley running the ball, but for Daniel Jones running the ball as well. And you're getting you have the ability to transform the identity of your whole offense by your tight end for just $11 million. And then
maybe they got Waller because they thought Bellinger would get suspended for steroids.
Yeah.
Well, you know what's funny? Now that you bring that up, because I've been in countless spaces talking about what this offense is going to look like, right? And you bring up a valid point. When you look at Jalen, like he can make plays where you can get in the ball with screens, and he's got a little bit of power where he can make plays after the catch, right? His speed. Paris Campbell last year, similar thing, and also what he did at Ohio State. He was after the catch, right? There's some truth to what you're saying, because what if they still want to go in? Okay, so then in that regard, then why play hardball with Barkley? Or why even go that route? You got a guy like Kareem Hunt that's on the market where you could have probably gotten him for less. Probably this year on a 1-year deal, you could have maybe got Kareem Hunt for $4 or $5, $6 million, like a Miles Sanders type of contract. And you could have brought him in for a year, maybe 2 years. He's got familiarity with Kafka because Kafka was there, so he knows Kafka. And you could have did it that way. Why, if that's the case, and you're right, why play hardball with Barkley the way that they are? Why not?
Because they don't
be the focal point.
Because just like Waller, Barkley is 1 year, has had one really good season after the last 2 years. And again, if he flames out and you gave him, let's say 4 years, 48 and guaranteed 30 of it, and he gets hurt, and sometime during this year, you're on the hook for that. Shane is playing. If anyone watches the cap, and I always love watching the cap, Shane is playing the game. He is playing long ball with these contracts, and he understands that while the importance of Barkley is there, I have him under a $12 million tag or $10 million. Excuse me, a $10 million tag. I have him tagged. He doesn't want to show up. He's going to lose out on $10 million. And there's a guy that was in Pittsburgh that just came out the other day and said, well, you know what? I probably should have signed that tag, because we saw how his career went. Shane understands that, I have 2 guys that I am relying on that are going to be focal parts of this offense that both have an history over.
And they both wear 26. So let me ask you this then. They tag Barkley, plays. Let's just say Barkley puts up identical stats next year that he did this year. Not the touches, right? Maybe not as many rushes, but he still puts up 1,300 yards. Maybe total offense, maybe he's closer to 2,000, right? Maybe because he's got some receiving. Does he give him a contract then? Like, do you think then after next season he gets the long-term contract?
Where did the Giants finish? What you got to predicate it more.
Say they make the wild card, same spot, 7th seed
and
or 6th seed.
Then did Daniel Jones play up to expectations, or did he have the same season similar to 2022?
Let's just say he was a little bit better statistically.
Then you're going to resign Barkley. Then you're going to give Barkley a 2-year deal, and you're going to guarantee more of the money.
But if Jones takes off, Barkley's gone.
Barkley's gone. Barkley will be gone in 2024. Because then
Barkley's future with the Giants is predicated on whether Daniel Jones takes a leap or not.
Which is why they gave him $40 million on average for the term of his contract. Yes, 100%. If Daniel Jones turns around and becomes, Steve Young, Dan Marino, everyone rolled up, Tom Brady, everyone rolled up to one. Then, and he proves that that Daniel Jones' success is not predicated on.
Oh yeah, if he throws for 4,500 yards, next year, Barkley's gone.
Barkley's gone. So
yeah,
why, if you were Shane, why would you commit that large amount of chunk of your salary cap over the?
So then, what do you do with the position then? What do you do?
You draft. Because you've already proven.
Or do they give Gray a shot, or maybe bring in a free agent?
You bring in a free agent, you draft. If you get through with Gray and Matt and if like I said, let's just say for the sake of argument, Saquon gets hurt in week 6 and he's playing on the tag, and you still make the playoffs with Matt and Gray as your
Gray probably is the leading guy going into next season to get the starting job.
Then you're going to give him the starting job, and you have him on a low end salary. You can then
for the next 3 years.
You could take that money you were going to give Barkley. You can turn around and go get an offensive lineman, go get a linebacker, go get a safety, go get whatever you need.
Yeah.
And you are not committed now to that money to a player that's injured or maybe had a season. And now let's say Barkley has a season that's less than he had last year. Let's say he only runs for 700 yards and Daniel Jones takes off again. You've proven that it's not Saquon Barkley that's Dak Prescott's early portion of his career was predicated on the success of Ezekiel Elliott. When Zeke went out early, his first 2-3 years, Dak was a different quarterback because they were relying heavily on Zeke. Now that's kind of, I think, what the Giants organization is thinking. Do we have this similar situation? But if we find out that Daniel Jones can play well without Barkley, I don't need to give him the money. If Barkley has a stellar season and Jones has a similar 2022 season, you have to start thinking, okay, is it Barkley that is making Jones? Is the ceiling for Jones 3,000 yards, 15 touchdowns because he has Saquon Barkley? We have seen what Jones is like without Barkley. We have watched it.
It doesn't look good.
It doesn't look good. We've watched it. We have a litmus test. We've seen it. So, and I think the Giants are playing. Like I said, I love Barkley. I think Barkley should be signed, but that's more of the fan in me than anything else. As an NFL executive, you are smarter letting him play on the tag, seeing what you have in Daniel Jones, because people need to remember you have a fully guaranteed Daniel Jones contract in 2024. You have an $18 million dead cap number in 2025. If you find out that his success is predicated on Saquon Barkley, you are probably going to start looking for a quarterback in 2024. So, I mean, I give Shane credit. He's taken, and this is why I always get in trouble. He's taken the emotion out of this. He's taken the fandom out of this, and he is saying, if this is the way it is, I could tag Barkley again next year and then let him go in 2025, and save all that money and still make the playoffs the next 2 years and still draft a running back. Cause like you were saying, you can find a running back later in the draft.
Yeah.
It's not like you have to have a second overall pick as your running back.
So going back to the like the Danielle Hunter situation, and I'm looking, I'm trying to find maybe guys that would be like comparable in age and maybe like production wise, and I don't know who would be considered maybe like where he would be at as far as like his market, in my opinion. Because he's 28. He's really on a low deal right now because he's on the last year of his contract. So it's kind of hard to gauge, where he would be at. But like, what do you think he would cost as far as because I think a 4-year deal would be good. I think a 4-year deal to get him for 5 years, he's going to be 29. So what, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33. You get him right around like he's 32, 33. The way Patterson was talking about him, I definitely think he'd be a fit in the locker room as far as how he carries himself. I think he fits the mold that they're trying to push, and he's dependable. He hasn't really missed much time. I think he's only been injured one season, which I think was 2021 when he missed some time there. So, I mean, I would pick up the phone and make the phone call.
I think you are going to need to give him a minimum of $19 million a year
on average.
And that's not and I'm not and that to me is going to be low.
What's Leo's average?
Leo's average, oh God, Leo's average is over 20. I forget
when he got his contract. I think he was like at what, 21, I think, right?
20, yeah, but
he's 21. His AAV is 21.
Yeah, so I would think that you would have to give him, Hunter, a minimum, like I said, guaranteed. Well, not guaranteed, but minimum of 19 million. I don't know if that's going to be in salary. I don't know if that's going to be in bonuses. I don't know what it's going to be, and I think with the fluctuation in the cap and the market, that number is probably going to end up and hit around 23 those first 3 seasons. And I think he is going to want a minimum the first 2 years guaranteed, and at least some guaranteed money go into year 3, going into year 3. So you would be looking at 46. So you would be probably looking at least 40 to 40. I would say anywhere between 40 to 50 million guaranteed on his contract if you brought him in at those numbers.
So right now I'm looking at 2024 because that's when he's supposed to on Spotrac. And these are the guys that are, as far as an AAV, Leo's the highest in 2024 at $21 million. He's the highest.
Right.
Because technically he's still under the contract, but they can get rid of him and his dead cap hit would be lower.
Dead cap number of 5. Yeah.
Yeah. Cameron Jordan is next at 17.5 for the Saints. Carl Lawson at 15 for the Jets. And then Daniil is there at 14.4.
Right.
So I think you're right. I think if you go ahead at 19, he'd be, if we cut Leo would probably be the highest at the time, maybe the highest edge rusher paid in 2024.
Right.
You might be able to get it done with 18 or 19 million dollars. I would be okay with doing that for a 28-year-old player.
Now the problem is this. Let's say he's either with the Giants or the Vikings. And let's say he stray hands it. Let's say he's got 20 sacks.
If we trade for him and he gets 20 sacks
this year, or let's just say he's either with the Vikings or here. Let's say he balls out, he has 20 sacks. What is that number then going to look like? Because then
it would be in the 20s, I think.
He would be in the 20s, and you
22, like 22-ish probably.
You're right. He missed. He only played 7 games.
In 2021,
but he still had 6 sacks. So
that's a sack, basically a sack a game.
Right. It's gonna be a large. Oh, guys, don't forget to the like button. I keep forgetting to say that. And I know I'm gonna get to a lot of the comments in a second, guys. Someone was DMing me. I'm gonna get to all these comments in a minute. But he is a guy. Like I said, if he balls out, you're gonna have to pay him. And even if he has what he perceives as an average season for him, you're still gonna be on the hook for him for at least 19 million.
Yeah, I think if he has a similar year to like what he had maybe 2 years ago, where he did like that 14.5, right?
Right.
I think what you're like 18 or 19, I think is good. It was a good value, and I don't think that's an overpay. I would give him that over 4 years. You'll have him for 5.
I don't think it's overpay, but I don't think it fits in the Shane philosophy of the salary cap, which is not to overpay or not to pay huge for guys that potentially could have injuries or guys that are becoming what they would refer to more advanced age in reference to the NFL. And I think he's been sticking to that philosophy. And I think he's shown that with his unwillingness to renegotiate either the Leonard Williams deal or the Adoree Jackson
deal. It's a good point. It's a good point.
think that's kind of where he's going to play that. Let's get to some of these comments real quick. So we got a lot of them here. Greg says, for DJ, it's put up or shut up time. I don't disagree.
Big facts.
I think that's big fact. The Admiral says, Bad Dog says DJ is better than Hurts, Prescott, Murray. Bradford basically the second best quarterback in the NFC. I don't know about that. Let's see. Rob's math skills might be worse than Tim's. 3 out of 5 is only 60%. I do love it. Chris says, I was going to say that Mike Lee, but I thought I understand his thought process. We got a super tech from Zach Attacks. Jones has a bad deep ball. See the Washington Tampa game. I don't want to keep. I don't want to bash on Jones because of the fact that it's, it is there are times though, Rob, and we've talked about this before, that Daniel Jones just missed guys. And I don't mean missing them by overthrowing them or underthrowing them or having someone miss the route. He just did not even look on the field. There's plenty of games, and someone on one of the chats told me, well, point these out because I think you're wrong. And I pointed out like 11 plays. Then it was like, okay, these are the ones that I could tell you that he missed, that he didn't even see people wide open. And like I said, I think that's just what it is. Giants 34 says, y'all have to watch Bad Dog's videos for basically agreeing with Tiki Bar. He's saying that only the quarterback that is better than Jalen Hurts. I think Bad Dog is doing it more for the money now. I don't know. I'm not going to pick on Bad Dog because I don't know. If I watched some of the videos, I could have said that, but I haven't seen anything. Mr. Bruce says, yeah, y'all, the Giants don't make the playoffs this year. It's time to start from scratch and get rid of. This is a good question, Rob. If the Giants don't make the playoffs this year, we've talked about being in the middle of a rebuild. Do the Giants start from scratch? Let's say the Giants only win 6 games this year. Mm-hmm. And let's say everyone is healthy. And let's say Jones has the same similar type of season. Do the Giants blow it up?
Like if they only win 6 games, yeah. I don't know.
Let's say they went 8 and missed the playoffs.
If they went 8 and missed the playoffs, I mean, I don't think that's enough to blow it up. I mean, DJ will still be here, but if we finished, with 6, I just think that they would probably make a change at the quarterback position at that point. It would just like depend. Like, if DJ got hurt and missed half the season and that was it, I think that's it for DJ. Like if DJ gets hurt this year and misses substantial time, I think it's done. I think he's finished. Like he has to play the entire year. If he misses like 6 weeks or more, and at that point, they're gonna and say Tyrod Taylor comes in or Tommy DeVito comes in and is able to run the offense efficiently, right? Why do you need, like, if they could come in and run the offense the same way that Daniel Jones ran the offense last year, then why do you need Daniel Jones? Like, why would you need Daniel Jones? So
I just laugh at the Tommy DeVito thing.
I'm just saying that's because that's Charlie's guy. You were serious about that? So
I just laugh at that.
I don't think they blow it up, but I think they just change the quarterback. I think they go a different route at the quarterback position.
Mr. Belford said, Tim, sadly to say, we live in a generation where fans rely heavily on social media hype and the advanced stats to determine the value of players, and that's dangerous. That is dangerous. We've talked about that. Giants Among Men says, Tim, are you doing a chest flex? I don't think I am. But okay. Let's see. Mike Lee says, but what's the guaranteed money? That's the key. We talked about Tim. Mr. Jones, Osmosis Jones. Tim, what's your record prediction? I don't give a record prediction this early. Because we haven't even played a preseason game.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, because
you want to see the injuries of the other teams, stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, and record predictions, are just so subjective. So Mr. Perry says, Tim, you guys heard a rumor the Giants offering Saquon 13-14, but him turning it down. I hear the rumors, but I hear the rumors, and I talked to someone that's given us information before previously, and he's actually the same gentleman that confirmed the fact that the Giants are giving him more money, but they're not guaranteeing the money. And I'm still I'm gonna believe that, because if you're Saquon, you're not. If the Giants are offering you 13-14 plus incentives and you're turning that down, there's a reason.
Yeah, he's the guaranteed money probably wasn't there with what. So
There's a reason why he's turning it down. Osmosis Jones says, but the guaranteed money was terrible, so it makes sense for him to turn around. We got the OG knockout saying, Tim, what's up? Everything's good. Let's see here. Dominic Parker, Dominic, the king of poppycockers. Barkley thing is going to be the saga of the summer as far as the Giants concerned. When do you get worried about Saquon Barkley?
When training camp starts and he's not there.
But do you get worried that he goes in deep in the training camp and he's not there, or like he misses the first week? Because we have seen this many times in the past, especially with running backs. When a running back holds out the entire training camp and then comes in for the last couple days, maybe the last preseason game, or doesn't even have the preseason games, the injury bug has hit these running backs multitudes of times and other players multitudes of times. So my concern is the fact that you go in to week 3 of the preseason, and which is the last game, and he's not there, and then he comes in. I'm more concerned about his health. Because we've seen it in the past. Running backs miss extended period of times in the preseason. They come in the first game, they pull a hamstring.
Yeah, if he's not, for me, if he's not there at the start of training camp, then to me that's, this is an important season, right? Daniel Jones got paid. You made the playoffs last year. You need to build off of that. And if he's not there, then I'm concerned, at that point, because I'm not confident in Daniel Jones's abilities to do it on his own. He hasn't proven that to me yet. Sorry for any Daniel Jones supporters out there. He has not proven that to me yet. So until he does, that's my feeling, and I'm sticking to it. So if he's not there at the start of training camp, I'm 100% concerned. 100% concerned.
Zach says Dominic Palmer is in the building. Poppycockers in New York, Jacksonville, and Philly, but Urban Myers will be the GM for Jacksonville. Mr. Alvarez comes in and says, supposedly the Washington might try to trade Chase Young. Should the Giants risk that trade? The only way I would risk that trade for Chase Young is if they took like a 6th round pick, 6th or 7th. I will give you a 7th and make it a conditional 6 with the amount of time that he plays.
I wouldn't even trade for him.
So
I wouldn't even trade. They're not going to trade him in the division.
They're not going to trade him. They're not going to trade in the division. So that's a non-starter. Dominic says nipped away, but popped it back in to ensure I left a like. Well, thank you guys. Make sure you hit the like buttons. People are not hitting the like buttons. I don't want to keep saying hit the like buttons because I feel like that's redundant all the time. We got Osmosis Jones says Chase Young could be a midseason trade if he can show the shades of himself. He's not to Rob's point. They're not going to trade him within the division.
Yeah.
I don't see it. We got Giants 34 to say what people don't understand about Waller is Waller was getting passes from a quarterback that has no trouble airing it out. Carr is a player who's thrown for over 4,000 yards easily. Giants fans, we have DJ. You look at the fact that if you look at it statistically, yes, Derek Carr has had multitudes of 4,000-yard seasons, and he has had some interesting wide receivers, and he has had some interesting coaches, and he's had some interesting scenarios within Oakland, Los Angeles, Las Vegas. He's not wrong, Rob. He's not wrong.
No, Carr's lowest amount of passing yards was in 2014, which was his rookie year. He threw for 3,200. Then this following year, 3,987, 3,937, 3,496, 4,049, 4,054, 4,100, 4,804, and then last year 3,522. But he got benched and missed a couple of games. Probably the way he was throwing, he was on pace to probably break another 4,000-yard season. So he airs out the ball, and when you look at his attempts here, his rookie year almost 600. 573 his next year, 560, 515, 553, 513, 517, 626, 502. He airs out the football. So
he does. And I think that's we just have to wait and see. I'm erring on the side of optimism. I don't know. I've been drinking. What are you gonna do?
I don't think Derek Carr sucks.
I don't think Derek Carr sucks. Chris says, hot take, Saquon Barkley becomes the number 3 overall rusher in Giants history by the end of the season. If he has a good season.
If he's setting that record, Chris, then Daniel Jones really sucks.
Yeah. which we're hoping. We got a two-ton super chat. Massive salute to proper big boss Robin. The massive congrats on the new homeborns from the entire rugby club in Italy to the diehard Giants fans in America. Forget about it. I always have to forget about it because you have to add that one. Mike Lee said silver lining to the winning only 6 games is an easier schedule. Well, on paper it will be. Listen, everyone talks about the Giants schedule. Big Don is in the house as well. Everyone talks about the Giants schedule being so difficult. And I'm not saying it's not, but everyone also talked about the fact that the last 8 games of the Giants schedule last year was going to be a cakewalk. And where did we go in those last 9 games? It was 3-5-1. So you don't know. The Giants, what people are predicting to be a tremendously horrible schedule for the Giants this year could turn into be a cakewalk. We don't know. Because every year in the NFL is different. Every time, every team has injuries. People have players that don't play at the expectation. So I can't sit there and tell you the value ranking of the Giants schedule right now is they have the second hardest schedule in the league. You don't know. You don't know what's happening from week to week.
I mean, me personally, just the way that I feel like week 1 is really going to set the tone for how the season is going to start. I know you disagree.
Rob thinks if we lose week 1, the season's over. We're going 0-17.
Well, I mean, I just think this, is a very good possibility. If you don't win that game at home against Dallas, I got us winning against Arizona, but you could lose against San Francisco. You could lose against Seattle. You could lose to Miami. You could lose to Buffalo. You could very easily go into your second division matchup in week 7. You could go into that game being 1-5, 1-6. Whatever. I don't know how many games. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah. So 1-5. And so if we go into that game against Washington at 1-5, it's not looking good. It's not looking good.
You also can go into that game at 6-1. I mean, excuse me, 5-1. You don't know. That's what I'm saying. I can't predicate if we're talking week 7 and we're having issues, then I'm going to get concerned. If we lose to Dallas at home on opening day, I'm not going to freak out, and I'm going to be there. So I'm not going to freak out. And I'm just going to sit there and say, you know what? This is what I love about Brian Daboll. And you have some people in the NFL that say that Brian Daboll is going to take a fall this year. And there was another article I read about it that he is going to take a fall a little bit this year. He's going to come back to the pack. But the thing about Brian Daboll, even during the winning streak, even during the 6-1 start, he kept saying it's one game at a time. He would win a game and be like, you know what, it's one game. We got a game next week. We're taking this one game at a time. And I think that is the best way to look at it. Because like I said, if you're doing that and you're losing consistently, then you have a problem. If you're taking that philosophy and you're playing over 500, then you're right. It's just one game. It's one game in a microcosm. It's when you hit a quarter of a game, like a quarter of a season, and you're having issues that then it's not one game at a time. Then you're having these problems. But he's taking it. He's focusing on one game. If you lost that game, unless it's like later in the season, it can be to your detriment. But if you lose it in the very beginning of the season, I've said this a million times. I've said this even when I played. I'd rather get the losses out of the way early. And anyone that's played competitive understands sometimes you don't start well. And I had a coach used to say it all the time. You get those losses out of your system. They're out of our system now, guys. We're now going to run the tail. We're now going to win 7 in a row because we got the losses out. And I agree with that philosophy in some regards, because winning to me sometimes is also not only about talent, but it's about the right attitude and it's about the right mental approach. And I do think that Daboll, Shane starting to build the right mental approach for the Giants, that one loss is not going to accumulate into a lost season. It's one loss. We got to move into next week. Now, if you get into week 5, Rob, and we are 1-4, then I'm getting concerned.
We'll see.
We will see from there. Let's see here. Silver lining. Oh, we got the big Don in the house. Of course, silver lining to winning only 6 games is your schedule. We got that one. Davis Webb, guaranteed money. Chris says record prediction in June, 17-0, wins every game, 55-0. I've said this before. Everyone is undefeated in June. So everyone's got a winning record. Mike Lee says trade Young for Williams straight up. Never going to happen. Chris also says I'll take Chase Young for a 6th and I would think if they said to me, Rob. So let me get this straight, and they'll never happen. But if they'd said to you, you are the Giants GM. You are Joe Shane. And I got to tell a quick Joe Shane story, too, because I saw Joe Shane in the parking lot when I was at the thing on Tuesday. You are Joe Shane, and Washington comes to you and says, Joe, we're going to give us a 7th round pick. We'll make it a conditional 6th if he plays X amount of snaps. You would not take a flyer on Chase Young.
Yeah, I mean, sure, for that, yeah. Never going to happen, but sure.
No, it's not going to happen, but I would, like I said, I would take that. Mr. Perry says Derek Carr sucks. I don't think he sucks. Derek Carr's had a good career. We got Captain Matumbo said we need speed.
They got to get speed. Demon speed. Speed's what we need. We need greasy, fast speed.
Because we're going to eat lightning and we're going to crap thunder. Let's see. The Admiral says, well.
I thought it's crap lightning.
Whatever. I don't know. I'm tired. Shut up. Captain Matumbo, Admiral Matumbo says, what would you grade Darnay Holmes' career with the G-Men so far? I give it an incomplete.
I'd give it a Z. Because he's putting me to sleep.
Listen, I'm gonna say this about Darnay Holmes. He's had moments in his career, in his Giants.
He's
career.
Daniel Jones, but on defense.
Oh, you know what?
Do you see the light? What light? Have you seen the light? Yes! Yes! Jesus H. goddamn Christ! I have seen the light!
I have seen the light now. In reference to what Darnay Holmes is, he's Daniel Jones of the defense.
Yeah, he's going to be a top paid corner next year.
Oh my God. That just made me laugh because you're right. He's had moments. He's had stretches where he has played brilliantly. And then he's had moments and he's had stretches where, well, not so much. But I give it an incomplete because I don't think positionally they know where to. They tried him in the slot. They tried putting him on the outside a couple of times. I don't think he's a true slot guy. I don't think he's an outside guy. I think he's a tweener. I mean, I don't know. What do you think? What's the career arc right now for Holmes?
The career arc?
Because he's already
right
in
now,
year 3, year 4.
Right now, it's crashing. It's crashing hard.
He
He should have went off the rails, but they keep fixing the track.
That's what she said.
Sorry. Hey, Rob will be here. Rob's going to be here all week, fellas. Don't forget to tip your waitresses. Oh, my God. Mr. Perry says we need to beat Dallas week 1. We are beating the 49ers. They have no quarterback.
Okay. I want to address this. I saw this comment. E-Man, listen. I appreciate your concern and your rawness there. But I'm sorry. It ain't happening. The 49ers haven't had a quarterback in like the last 3 years, and they've made it to the conference championship 2 years.
Listen, Jeff Garcia was probably the last good 49er quarterback.
Like, I mean, let's be honest here. They've made it to the playoffs with no quarterback more than we have.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, we ain't beating San Francisco.
But
if we do,
I'm not saying that yet because we haven't.
The morning before the game next week, the following week, I will gladly say I was wrong. Because I'm sure we'll be doing this show, before the games are more than likely, maybe, unless it's a home game and Tim's going, right? So yes, I will admit that I was wrong if that would be the case. Not going to happen though.
Big Don dropping the super chat for the kids. I'm tired of all these media people talking about how bad Hyatt is. Like, what the fuck? It's the underwear Olympic time. I've said this before. Evidently, Hyatts look good in stretches in the MIniCamp. So, I mean, according to the Giants media, and all that means nothing when you play against the Alcone team. So, like I said, Daniel Jones.
My God, he caught a deep ball from Daniel Jones. He really burnt the air, that one.
So I mean, it's to Don's point. Let's at least get him to training camp. Let's at least get him on the field for for a preseason game.
Let me see what he does in the scrimmage.
Right there you go. That's a better way to
see what he does in the scrimmage. If he's burning listen, but it's got to be against somebody good. Okay, if he's burning Adoree Jackson in the scrimmage, great. If he's burning Darnay Holmes, I'm not impressed. Because anybody can burn Darnay Holmes.
Don't forget to hit the like, guys. We got to get up the likes. The likes are terrible today because I forgot to keep saying it. Don't forget the like. Don't forget the like. Don't forget the like. The CEO of Poppycocker says it's time to pay the bills. Time to run the Poppycockers ad. Oh, it's time to run the Poppycockers ad. Oh yeah, everyone knows what time it is. It's the best time of all. The best place to go is Poppycockers. If you're looking for a place to go to get your poppycock, there's no place better to go on the west end of London. It's our favorite spot. It's the place to be. It's just the Poppycockers. I got my poppycock at the Poppycockers. So make sure you're there. You say good hello to the big dog. Everyone loves Poppycockers. Everyone loves to go to the strip club in my head. Sometimes it's a scary place to be. Chris says never trade in division, but there was the TJ. Yeah, there was the Hawkinson trade. That doesn't make
sense. That's because the Lions are fucking stupid. They took Amir Gibbs with their first pick at 12. I'm not surprised that they traded in the fucking division.
Yeah, that was a little weird. Mr. Belford said, shot on goal, Rob, for the Darnay Holmes take. Yeah, that was a beautiful take. I mean, Rob, you actually had a beautiful take on that. That just I'm still.
Thank you, sir.
I'm still laughing about. You know what's a good thing about Rob, and this is why we have him on, because once every 4 or 5 weeks he comes up with something good, and we wait for those moments. I'm the Daniel Jones of this podcast. Daniel Jones of the podcast. We are going to get you an 8 jersey, and we're gonna put your name on the back. No, we're not even going to put that. We're just gonna put. I'm gonna give you an 8 jersey with 0 on the back. Mr. Tuta, what do we got here? Rob, you gonna watch the World Cup final in U2? It's this afternoon, 5 p.m.
Unfortunately, not.
There's World Cup. What's good? There's soccer.
Probably.
I don't know.
I'm not a big soccer guy.
I'm not a big soccer guy. I don't know anything about soccer. They run around and they kick the ball. I always love it because they.
I know they wear high socks.
I love it because I think it was Family Guy when they do the soccer. They have the soccer announcers and you have the American soccer announcers. The forward kicks it to the center. Yeah. The center kicks it back to the forward. The forward kicks it. He holds it. Then they have the Spanish version of it. I'm not gonna do that one, but it just cracks me up. Rob, I'm gonna have one final take because it's almost 12 o'clock and we're gonna get out of here, and I'm gonna give you a final take. I want to say something, and I think this is interesting. And I found it interesting to me. I was going through a box in the house, and not only did I find a Sega Dreamcast, I also found the original Xbox, and I found another system, and I found 2K5 for the original Xbox.
Oh, God.
I'm not much of a Madden guy. I play Madden, but I'm not much of a guy like that. But oh my God, 2K5, 15, 20 years later, is 10 times better than Madden. I was playing this thing with 2,000 for Kurt Warner at quarterback for the New York Football Giants, and I was having a blast playing this fucking game.
Eli was a rookie in that game.
He looks like a little kid, Eli. It killed between the presentation, the halftime show, the end, the game, the end of the game highlights. I mean, this game, I forgot about this game. This game was freaking phenomenal. The graphics still hold up well. The animation, the tackling, the line blocking.
Yep.
I think you play Madden. Do you play Madden?
Unfortunately.
When is Madden gonna go back and reach the pinnacle of 2004?
Never.
Because I forgot all about this game. And my wife was like, what game are you playing? I said, this is 2K5. This is like 20 years old or whatever the fuck it is. But I was like, I'm having a blast playing this game. You call the defensive backfield. You call before you hike the ball, you have to call your line assignments and your defensive backfield assignments, your back seven. I forgot all about this. And the way you can change players, you can individually change players' routes. You can individually change players' blocking assignments. And just the presentation, I forgot about this game. This game was phenomenal.
It was great. My favorite football game.
If I could figure out a way to update the roster, I'd be playing this now.
There is a way to update the roster.
Oh, on the Xbox or on the computer? How do you do that?
I think on the Xbox.
Oh.
You got to download the. I think there's a file you got to download, and they put all the current players in it.
I'll have to look that up because I was having a ball playing this game. I was like, and then you could. This was one of the first games that you could play online with 4 other people at the same time.
2K5 was a very, very good game. Probably one of my favorite Madden games. It was Madden 2003 and 2010 were my favorites to play. But my favorite football game as a whole is 2K5. And I loved NFL Game Day 99. That one was a good one.
Game Day 99.
That was a good one. I think TD was on the cover of that. But Madden's just gone downhill, man. They've just gone downhill to become more of a money-hungry corporation. And they just care about the money. Hoping that after this year, the NFL lifts the exclusive rights deal from EA and allows 2K to try to get back into the race to earning some rights to make a football game. So, but EA is terrible. Madden is awful.
Well, like I said, I popped in Madden, the most original one, the most recent one, yesterday, because I wanted to see the difference. And graphically, yes, Madden is superior in reference because you're also playing it in 4K. But the animation on this game was phenomenal, and like gang tackling, they actually had gang tackling that looked consistent.
In 2K, yep.
And if you actually watched in 2K, the way the offensive linemen block and the way they drop back into their stance, I was like I said, I added up on the 70-inch TV. I got it running on the Xbox 360 because it's got the HD connection. I was like, I could play this game. It's like I literally played an entire game. Like I looked down and my wife was like, "You've been playing this game for like an hour." I'm like, "Yeah, this was great." It's like I think I want to play this game again.
It's a lot of fun. It's really a lot of fun to play.
Poppycock, let's get to the news one quick. Then I'll give Rob the final. Poppycock's here. Are you taking the bike out? I'm not taking the bike out today. It's I didn't take the bike out the last couple of days because of the air.
Poppycocker CEO Dom.
I love it, and that's a picture of Dom wearing my shoulder pads and an autographed Phil Simms helmet. Oh my God. Poppycockers also said 2K is the best game ever, way ahead of its time. Yeah, that's the other thing. The depth of this game, and I don't know, man, it's just crazy. Super Techno Bowl with the current rosters out too. Really, I love Super Techno Bowl. You either had Bo Jackson or Lawrence Taylor. Those were the two guys in Super Techno Bowl. Poppycockers also says Madden has been the same for years now. Basically, all they do is update the roster. I gotta find out how to update the roster because I think I'm gonna play a whole season if I can figure out a way to update the roster. I may play the 2004 or 2000. Yeah, I may play the 2004 season over again. Start Eli from the beginning, see what happens. It could be interesting. So, Rob, it is 12:02. We all have things to do. We all have family obligations. I had my final thought about how I love now 2K football, 2K5 football. I'm gonna try 2K baseball next. So I found that.
You got to play MLB The Show, dude. MLB The Show is fun.
I downloaded it.
It's free. It's free on the new Xbox.
I know. I downloaded it. That's why I downloaded it because it was free.
That's what I'm playing. That's what I'm playing now and streaming now.
I have to look at that. So I downloaded that like a week ago. I just haven't had a chance to look at it yet. But what's your Dom? Rob? I don't even know tell your name is.
Hey, I'm Dom.
Nice to meet you, Dom.
Nice to meet you, Tim. Thanks for having me on.
Just there we go. That's all I I was wearing this to the butcher shop the other day, last week, and someone goes to me, "What does your shirt say?" And then I thought to myself, "You're like 70 years old." And this old lady asked me what my shirt says. Most people would have been offended, most people would have been embarrassed, not me. So, what's your final thought, Rob? What's the final thought of the day going into Tuesday's mandatory minicamp?
Final thoughts is, I just hope that everybody stays healthy. Going into this training camp, team continues to grow. My thing is, I forgot who said it before, man. I just hate how media has changed And I feel like media has become more of a fucking popularity contest than it has been really fucking reporting. It's so annoying. Nobody wants to be real out there. Everybody wants to follow the crowd and go with what's in because they want to get a like or a view or a comment or a subscription or this and that. And what I really like, about what I do, and I think why I really enjoy getting along with Tim and talking with Tim is we don't give a fuck. We're going to give you, our honest opinions, good, bad, or indifferent. And that's what it is. And if we're wrong, we're wrong. If we're right, then we're going to let you know that we were right, and let you know. I just hate the softness. And what I hope is, and it's not going to change, but I just hope that this Barney Disney World, kindness, positivity bullshit that's around this fan base by the media, I hope that it pans off this year and we're enjoying ourselves. But I want a smooth recovery. Oh, it's not a smooth recovery. I want a smooth and a good minicamp, no injuries. And hopefully Barkley shows up, or there's maybe Joe Shane makes another move, whether that's Daniil, D-Hop, Justin Houston, or somebody else adding and giving us something to be excited about going into this 2023 season. That's all I got. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
I like it. I think it's a good story. You should stick to that. I hope everyone has himself a good Sunday. You still got some time left. We got MIniCamp coming up. We're gonna probably do some videos. People have mentioned that I haven't been doing a lot of videos lately. I actually do apologize for that. It's just been a lot of stuff going on. But we're gonna get back to doing, and also the fact we're gonna start doing some videos when there's news. I think that's probably the best way to go. I am going to another giant event in 2 weeks. So I'll have more information in reference to that. That event we probably will stream from, so you can get a little bit more of the inside of what the Giants do.
I'll have to send you a picture that I saw on Twitter. You may have seen it. Hold on. I have to send you. I have to send you this. I have to share it to you in a DM.
Are you going to DM it? Hold on, I gotta go.
Yeah, because I don't want to show it on here.
Well, you let me go to Twitter then here. I'm going to pull it up and show it.
You probably are.
Everyone just hang out while Rob figures out how to work Twitter. While we're waiting for Rob,
I sent it to you.
I was gonna. Okay, let me see. Message, DM, share the tweet. What is this? What is this? You can't tell they're much the same thing. I didn't see that. I did not see that one. I'm not going to share that one. I did not see that one. But you know what? On that note, that no one else saw what I saw.
That phrase, trademark, not to use outside position, Ricky Bobby.
I evidently hit the wrong button. What is up with my soundboard? All my soundboard numbers are screwed up. 10 is 30, 30 is 10. There we go. We found the right button. This is Tim. This is Rob. This is New York Giants Straight Talk. This is the Sunday Giants. Having all the fun, having all the good time. Me and Rob want to appreciate everyone that hung in and hung out. Don't forget to hit the like button when you leave. And you know what, guys?
Do the monkey with me.
Do the monkey with me.